Hey guys, my name is Emma and today I'm giving you my TBR for the Readathon Magical Readathon Owls examinations. So for those of you who don't know, the Magical Readathon is a readathon that happens at least twice a year, but there's normally kind of extra ones as well, and it is Harry Potter themed. So in April we have our Owls, which are the exams in Harry Potter world which you take in your 5th year, and then in August there are your Newts that you would take in your 7th year. This was created by the lovely booktuber Book Roast, and I will link down below her original announcement video, which also contains all of the prompts and information that you need. So for the Owls, the way it works is to be able to pass the subject, you need to read a book that fits that prompt. This is the 2nd year that this is running, and a Book Roast has actually done something really exciting and created some different magical careers for us as well. So as well as the original prompt list, there is also now a kind of careers manifesto guide that you can download that tells you what qualifications you'll need to be able to complete each career. And the idea is that you're going to try and pick one and focus on it. So the subjects, there are 12 subjects in total, but not all the careers will require you to do all of the different qualifications. And then the idea is that whatever you pass this time round, you then, when you do your Newts, can only continue in those subjects. So it's like a one that builds on each other, which is really good fun. So this is my first year taking part properly. I missed it last year and I am so excited. I've been waiting for this like literally for months. It's going to be awesome. So what I've done is I have selected a career that I think I'm going to be working towards, so I'm going to mention those prompts first, but I do have a book for every single prompt because I figure, you know, picking up extra qualifications is always good fun. I might change my mind partway through my career development, and I just want to give myself some options. In theory, I'm going to be training to become a curse breaker because it sounds awesome. To be a curse breaker, I need to pass Ancient Runes, Arithmancy, Charms, Potions, Transfiguration, and Defense Against the Dark Arts. So there are 6 books that I will need to read in April to officially be able to say that I am on my way to getting my curse breaker qualifications. So let's roll through them. I didn't collect up any of the books beforehand because I'm lazy, and that's fine. So the prompt for Ancient Runes is a retelling, and for me I'm going to be trying to read A Wild Swan by Michael Cunningham. This is actually a collection of short stories which are all based on various different fairy tales. You know, there's references to Beast, Jack and the Beanstalk, there is Rumpelstiltskin in here. It says on the back, "Here are the moments, dark, perverse and true, that our fairy tales forgot." I've had this on my shelves for ages. It's quite short and I'm really keen to get to it. It's got like really gorgeous illustrations in it. Can't show that, like look. Like absolutely beautiful. So this will be my passing grade for Ancient Runes. I then also need to pass Arithmancy, which is a book with more than one author. Now I am really struggling because I have no books like that on my shelf. So what I've decided to do is I'm going to be reading a graphic novel because they often have more than one writer across the various different kind of individual, I almost said episodes, but like comic books that then make the bundle of the graphic novel. And I think that in terms of for a graphic novel, the colourist and the illustrator are just as important as the writer, so I think it's more of a collaboration. So that's my slight workaround for this one. And the graphic novel in particular that I'm planning to get to is Monstrous Volume 1. I bought this back at Christmas and it looks really exciting. I've heard it referred to a bit like Lord of the Rings. There's a war between humans and some kind of evil creature, and it just all generally sounds really fun and exciting, and I've heard amazing things about it. The next one I need to pass is Charms, and that's just literally a book that is technically considered adult rather than YA or middle grade or new adult, as opposed to adult as in raunchy. I read almost exclusively adult books, so I don't actually have a particular one for right now. It will just be whatever takes my fancy. I am planning a buddy read with Amy Gets Lit again, and our buddy read topic is... We did one back in March, or in this month, which was the Suicide Club, and for April we're going to be reading Once Upon a River by Diane Setterfield together. So if needs be, this will end up being my prompt for Charms because it is definitely an adult book. I will link Amy's channel down below, and if you want to join us for reading in April, obviously you're more than welcome to. Of course, it might be that that fits into some other prompts, and in which case it will just be whichever adult book takes my fancy. For Defense Against the Dark Arts, it is a title with R in a title that starts with R even, and this is for the spell Reducto. So where's mine gone? I really struggle with this. I only have like 2 or 3 books on my shelves that actually do start with the letter R, but I've decided to go for The Raven Boys by Maggie Stiefvater. I don't know a crazy amount about this book other than it is unbelievably hyped on BookTube. Everybody loves this thing. There's a character called Blue. It's part of a series. It's It's YA. I don't really know, but I figured YA would make a nice break from some of the other stuff that I've got going on here, and it's always fun to kind of chuck in something like that to have a bit of a more relaxed reading session, and I've been planning to read this for a while, so why the heck not? Then I need to pass Potions, and this one is just a sequel. It's nice and simple, and I have so many options for this, both ones that I own and ones that I don't. I might be reading Tropic of Serpents, which is book 2 by of the Lady Trent series by Marie Brennan. I've also got book 3 and the final book in the trilogy for the Winter Night trilogy, which is The Winter of the Witch by Catherine Arden. I've got Caitlin Doughty's second book. I don't know whether this technically counts as a sequel because it's non-fiction, but it's her second book around the same topic, which is From Here to Eternity, which is about death. I also just finished Jurassic Park book 1, so I could quite easily pick up book 2. I know that I started V. Schwab's London series before Christmas, which means that I could quite easily pick up book 2 for that. I have many things that would technically count as sequels, and I'm just going to see what takes my fancy. And that was one of the reasons why I really wanted to do the Cursebreaker, was because I definitely wanted to have Potions in my career, regardless of what career it was, because I have so many sequels that I really want to get to. My final one that I'll need to be able to pass my Cursebreaker qualification is Transfiguration, which is either sprayed edges or red on the cover. I don't think I currently own any books with sprayed edges, which means I'm going to go for red on the cover, and I'm probably going to read Dry by Neil Schusterman. This is again another YA. I'm getting a lot more YA than I would normally read in here, which is very interesting. So this one is set in our world, but it's where the water has basically run out. There is a drought and we are completely tapped out. So it's told from the point of view of kind of a couple of teenagers, and it's their desperate struggle to try and make sure that they can survive and their family can survive in this sort of now becoming a bit dystopian world where there is no water and civilization is kind of crumbling. So those are the 6 that I need for my qualification. But obviously I would quite like to read more and pick up more qualifications and subjects. So given that, I'm just going to roll through some of the other options that I have that I could try and do. So for astronomy, it needs to be one that has star in the title, and for this I'm going to be reading Defy the Stars by, I think it's Claudia Gray, but I'm going to put it kind of here. This one I know very little about beyond it's a sci-fi. Cool. Then I have Care of Magical Creatures, and this one needs a land animal on the cover. I don't have a crazy amount for that. Potentially, Once Upon a River could fit into that. Do swans count as land creatures? It's a bird who goes on water but can fly but also walks on the land. It's like all of them. But if you're not willing to give me that one, then I do have one more that I could read. I also have The Paper Menagerie and Other Stories, which has a tiger on the front. It's technically a paper tiger, presumably from The Paper Menagerie, but I think it counts as a land animal. And it's paper, so it's not going to want to go on water. This is a collection of short stories by Ken Liu. I've technically read the first story, but I think the first story was all about... yeah, it was less than 10 pages long, so I think it's fine. I haven't technically started it properly. So then we have Divination, which is a book set in the future, and I have honestly probably a good 15 different books on my bookshelf that would count as this. I have a whole bunch of sci-fi that I haven't got anywhere near for a while, so my plan is I'll just end up picking up one of these. It might be Positive or Love -80 because they were listed on my 5-star predictions, but it's going to be any one of those. Then for Herbology, it's a plant on the cover, and as quite a few of the books I've already shown you have plants on the cover. Again, Diane Setterfield, we could be onto a winner here. The Winter of the Witch. Ooh, throwing stuff on the floor. Has a bunch of trees. Caitlin Doughty's one has a bunch of flowers. I'm sure there are more. I've definitely seen more. So it will probably just be, if I end up getting to one of these ones, if I've already kind of filled a slot, then these ones can get shunted off to other subjects. It just depends on how many books I end up reading, to be honest. For History of Magic, it's just a book that was published at least 10 years ago. Again, I would probably estimate over half my bookshelf is that, because I often buy back catalogue books and books that are not new releases. I have a whole bunch of classics books which were clearly published more than 10 years ago that I want to get to. You know, I've got Jane Austen, I've got Jules Verne, I've got H.G. Wells on here, there's some Arthur Conan Doyle. You know, there is no shortage of options for me there, so it'll just be whichever one of those that I pick up that happens to fit that prompt. And the final one is Muggle Studies, which is a contemporary. And this one I actually do genuinely struggle with a bit more because I don't have many contemporary books. So If I do get around to this, it's probably going to be The Museum of Modern Love by Heather Rose. This one again I picked up at Christmas. It's to do with, it was inspired by a real performance art piece that happened where a woman sat at a table in total silence and then strangers could come and sit opposite her, also in total silence, for up to 2 minutes. And it's just about the impact that that had on this fictional character in this world. I am the least confident that I'm going to get to this book, because I don't tend to read a crazy amount of contemporary and I don't actually need it for my qualification, and I'm kind of more in like a fantasy sci-fi mood. But if I do, I figured, you know, picking a short one means I'm more likely to get to it and it would be cool, you know, it just sort of depends. So that is it from me for my O.W.L's Readathon TBR. I will link everything down below, so if you want to join in as well, you totally can. I think it's really good fun, and even if you're not like a Harry Potter head like a lot of us in the community are, it's still really entertaining because you get so many different options, and now having this careers option as well, you've got all these different ways that you can combine them and have like different priorities. And then as well, if you join in August with the news, basically rather than just having one prompt for each subject, it goes up to 3, and that becomes like how well you did in that subject, and it just again gives you so many more options and it's far more complicated, which I think is so much fun. I love readathons that go a little bit extra at OTT. I also just want to show you quick, I did put together a little bullet journal spread for it. As you can see here, ignore the fact that I haven't actually rubbed out a lot of the guidelines as such, a little bit more relaxed than my Christmas winter at Hogwarts one that I did, which I'll link down below the video for that if you want to see that bullet journal spread. Sorry I don't have any Harry Potter paraphernalia on me. I don't actually own any, and in case anybody is wondering, I would consider myself a Slytherclaw, which is half Slytherin, half Ravenclaw, because I really do come up 50-50 in pretty much all the tests, including Pottermore. Like, I've taken that one at least like 6 or 7 times, and again I'm a fairly even split consistently, just depending on exactly what questions come up. So if there are any house competitions, which I know that a book roast does on Twitter quite often, there's ways that you can get points for your house and compete for the house cup with kind of trivia questions and that kind of thing, which sounds like good fun. I've no idea if I'm going to take part, but if I do, I'm officially aligning myself this time around with Slytherin. I've decided we're going to go snaky. So that's everything from me. Have a wonderful reading week, and I'll chat to you soon. Bye guys.